The world you experience is a perfect mirror of the person you believe yourself to be. Every rejection, every success, every dollar in your account is a delayed broadcast of an assumption you accepted as true long ago. You feel stuck because you keep trying to argue with the reflection, pointing at the parts you dislike, hoping the mirror will change first. By the end of our time together, you will understand how to turn away from that mirror and change the one thing that casts the reflection. You. You live in a world of facts. The bank statement is a fact. The doctor's report is a fact. The unopened email you've been dreading for 3 days is a solid, undeniable fact. These facts feel like walls. They dictate what is possible. You are a product of your past, a collection of evidence. You have proof of who you are, and so you fight. You hustle. You apply more effort, pushing against the unmoving wall of your circumstances, hoping that one day the sheer force of your will can make a dent. You are trying to solve a problem on the screen by touching the screen. Think about a time you desperately wanted something. A job, a relationship, a sense of peace. You focused on its absence. You felt the ache of its lack. The world, in its perfect obedience, kept delivering you more of what you were radiating, the experience of lacking that thing. Your focus on the problem was the very prayer that sustained it. The mechanism is working perfectly. It is giving you exactly what you have assumed to be true about yourself and your world. The difficult part is accepting that you are the one holding the assumption. But what if the feeling of being powerless is just one assumption among many? What if you could choose a different one? This sounds like a fantasy, a dangerous delusion in a world that demands realism. Neville Goddard, a philosopher from the last century, once found himself stuck in New York City, desperate to get back to his family in Barbados, but with no money for the passage. His mentor, an old Ethiopian man named Abdullah, gave him strange advice. He told him to walk the streets of New York that night feeling he was walking the streets of Barbados. He instructed him to go to bed in his New York apartment, feeling the Caribbean air, feeling he was sleeping in his family's home. He was told to live in the end result. Neville argued. He presented the facts, the empty wallet, the schedules of the ships. Abdullah slammed the door in his face, shouting, "You are in Barbados!" For days, Neville wrestled with this. It felt absurd, a lie, but faced with no other options, he surrendered. He began to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He fell asleep each night, imagining he was in his bed in Barbados. A week later, he received a letter. His brother had sent him a ticket to sail home. The ship he sailed on was the very one he had imagined himself boarding. The delusion became a fact. But how does this bridge from imagination to reality actually get built? Is it just wishful thinking, or is there a specific, repeatable process? Your imagination is the workshop of reality. Every single thing in the man-made world around you first existed as an image in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting in, the phone in your hand, the building across the street. They are all materialized assumptions. Your brain has a filtering mechanism. It pays attention to what it believes is important or relevant to you. When you buy a new car, you suddenly see that same model everywhere. The cars were always there. Your assumption of ownership simply made you aware of them. You are doing this constantly on autopilot. If you assume people are untrustworthy, you will notice every subtle sign of betrayal. You will filter your reality to provide evidence for your assumption. If you assume opportunity is scarce, your focus will be on closed doors and competition. You will miss the open window right behind you. The world is a vast, infinite field of possibilities. Your current assumption is the lens that brings one specific version of that world into sharp focus, while all others remain blurry and unseen. The work is to consciously choose the lens. This means generating a feeling that corresponds to a reality that does not yet exist in your physical world, and that feels like the hardest work of all. How do you feel rich when the bills are piling up? How do you feel loved when you feel alone? The answer lies in a state of mind that is receptive to new ideas. A state akin to sleep, just before you drift off at night, or just as you awaken in the morning. Your conscious mind, the skeptical gatekeeper, is drowsy. Its guard is down. In this relaxed state, your subconscious mind is open. It is like fertile soil, ready to accept any seed you plant within it. This is your moment of power. You construct a short, simple scene, a scene which implies your wish is already a fact. You don't visualize the process of getting it, you visualize a moment after it has happened. If you want a promotion, you don't imagine the interview or the negotiation. You feel your friend's hand shaking yours and hear them say, "Congratulations, I knew you'd get it." You feel the weight of the new keycard in your palm. If you want to heal a relationship, you don't imagine the difficult conversation. You feel the genuine warmth of an embrace. You hear their voice filled with ease and affection. The scene must be short, a few seconds at most. And you loop it over and over again, like a lullaby. You infuse it with as much sensory detail as you can muster. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel, physically and emotionally? You repeat this scene until it takes on the tones of reality, until you feel the genuine emotion of its fulfillment. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the prayer that gets answered. You fall asleep saturated in the feeling that it is done. That is the moment of impregnation. The seed has been planted. But this quiet nightly ritual feels fragile. What happens when you wake up and the cold light of day shows you a world where nothing has changed? This is where most people fail. They perform the ritual at night, then spend the next day digging up the seed to see if it's sprouting. They check for evidence. They look for signs. Every time they worry, every time they complain about the old reality, they are planting a competing seed, a seed of doubt. The work during the day is called mental diet. It means consciously refusing to entertain thoughts and feelings that contradict your new assumption. When the old story appears, and it will, you meet it with a quiet inner knowing. You acknowledge the reflection in the mirror, but you remember who you are now. A woman Neville taught wanted to marry a certain man. He was out of reach, seemingly committed to someone else. Neville told her to assume she was already his wife. To change her name to his in her own mind, to sleep feeling her head on his chest. For weeks, nothing happened. Friends brought her news that only confirmed the old story. He was still with the other woman. She was tempted to despair. Each time, she would return to her assumption. It is done. She refused to give energy to the unwanted reality. She lived as if, then, one day it happened. Circumstances rearranged themselves in a way no one could have predicted. The other relationship ended naturally. He sought her out. He proposed. She had held to her assumption against all evidence, and the world had no choice but to conform. This persistence is the bridge of incident. You don't build the bridge. You don't get to choose the path. Your only job is to live faithfully in the destination, and the bridge will appear under your feet. It requires a trust that feels almost reckless, a faith in the unseen, and it all hinges on one final crucial shift in perspective. You are moving away from the idea of manifesting something outside of yourself. You are shifting into the identity of the person who already has it. The outer world is a lagging indicator of your inner state of being. It's like your financial portfolio. The value today reflects decisions and market conditions from the past. The world you see right now is the result of past assumptions. To change your future, you must change your inner being now, in spite of the present evidence. Think about a person who is confident. They walk into a room assuming they belong. They speak assuming they will be heard. Their reality reflects this assumption back to them. People listen. Doors open. They are not trying to be confident, they simply are. Your work is to assume the state of the person you wish to be. What would your thoughts be like if you were already living in your desired reality? How would you walk? How would you speak to the cashier at the grocery store? You start living from that state. It feels like acting at first, but every time you react from that new identity, you cast a vote for it. You are sending new information to the universe. You are changing the film in the projector. Gradually, the feeling of acting fades, and it becomes your natural state of being. You become the person who is naturally wealthy, who is naturally loved, who is naturally at peace. You are not acquiring a thing, you are revealing a dimension of your own being. The world has to change. There is no other option. It is law. The circumstances of your life may seem solid, insurmountable. You may be facing challenges that feel far beyond your control. This teaching is not a dismissal of those realities. It is a tool to engage with them from a position of power. The one thing you can always control is your own consciousness. Your reaction to the world is the rudder that steers your ship. You can curse the storm, or you can hold your heading. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is your destination. Your imagination is the vehicle. Your persistence is the fuel. Most people live their entire lives as passengers, looking out the window at a landscape they believe they had no hand in creating. They are reacting to a world that is only reacting to them. They are caught in a feedback loop, starting right now, today, this moment. You can break that loop. The person you were 5 minutes ago does not have to be the person you are now. Every rejection, every failure, was based on a prior concept of yourself. That concept is not made of stone, it's made of belief, and belief can be revised. The past has no power over you except the power you give it with your attention. Who are you choosing to be? What reality are you authorizing with your feeling state right now? Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and watch as the world, that perfect and obedient mirror, begins to show you a new reflection.